Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Tips and Tricks Tuesday and we have a request to do mist and apparitional things. So we have a Molly Harrison picture here out of Autumn Magic of this wonderful ghost. And as you can see, she is see-through. So basically what you want to start to do is color the areas. I'm using the Indra um, colored pencils here. So we're going to color the areas behind the ghost. I also have my uh, pastel pencils here as well and my pan pastels, and we will be getting to those here in a moment. We're just going to do the darkest areas of the objects. I'm going to switch over to the close-up camera so you can see what I'm doing. I'll move you over there. So I'm just going through, and this is a grayscale picture. So I'm just going through and darkening up and adding that gray area to the tombstone here. Now I am stopping when I get to her dress. Even though it is dark or it is see-through, what is behind her dress is going to be lighter than what is in front of it or beside it or what isn't covered by it, because her dress is going to be misty and gossamy and, creating that look of what is it called? Apparition. Now I have colored this one before um, in a Halloween issue last year, so you may recognize the picture as one that was done before. Now I have actually showed a different way of doing this last year. There's so many different ways to do things, and there's always new ways to learn. So sometimes you find a good way of doing something, and then somebody shows you another good way. I won't say a better way, because it's not really a better way, it's just a different way. So I'm just going through and coloring in the darker areas of this stone. And I am using the sandstorm paper, which the white should stand out a lot better on, because we have a lot of white areas that we will be adding in. Alright, now we're going to take our white and we're going to color in some of those white areas. Just blending it into the gray. See how that stands out on this tanned paper really well. Now, of course, you can use China white or something else if you want to. I don't want it to be a stark white. I want it to be able to see some of that gray from behind it. We want it to be creepy. So I'm just blending into all of that gray that I just laid down, leaving the edges as dark as possible. Make sure I don't color over that leaf. Now, I'm not going to color the entire picture. Basically, I'm going to color the areas that are behind her so that you can see how to make her translucent, how to make her see-through and ghostly. Okay, so I'm going to sharpen this. Where's my sharpener? There it is. So we've got the white on the outside here, as well as some dark gray. Now we're going to sharpen this, and we're going to sharpen this one. Oh, I think that's the one I just used. I'm going to use this one. I don't really have a very white or light gray in there, so I might need to use a different set of pencils. Maybe. I think I'll use the silver. So the lightest gray that I have in this other set is actually silver. It's not extremely metallic, so it should do the job. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in behind her here, and we're going to put in that gray. And we're going to color it as if she wasn't even there, leaving those really, really white areas quite light. And I'm off screen, sorry guys. Didn't look up. So like I said, I'm just putting in those gray areas behind her. In the areas that are really, really white, I'm going to try to leave as much of the white as possible, but still get that stone in behind her. Now, just trying to make sure I get the steps and all the rest of it in there as well. Like I said, I'm not too concerned about going over anything at the moment with this gray color, because I will be adding the white to it, as well as some green for the leaves and grass, and browns and that for the darker areas. Right now I'm just blocking in that stone behind her so that I know where it is. I'm doing this very, very loosely, just to put that in. Okay. Alright, so we've got the stone pillars in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing on the top here as we did on the other one, blending them together, making sure that we get the highlight areas. Now, because her dress comes down here like this, we're going to actually fill that area with the white, just so you can see it here. Now I will be going over that with a different white. This is just preliminary, just getting it started so we can move on to the rest of the pillar here. So you can see where the white of her dress is coming through the pillar, like that. Alright, so move you down here a little bit. So as you can see, I got started on the grass already with some of the darker strands of the grass. I'm going to sharpen this one up. Now we're going to put in some of the lighter grass and the medium grass. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in flicks for the grass here. And I'm not too concerned about going over her dress at this point, because I will take an eraser to it before I put the white on it. I also want a little bit of that grass to show through. Showing that she is floating over that grassy area. I think I'm going to zoom you out a little bit. I think you're just zoomed in too far, because I'm having to move this in weird directions and it's just not helpful. Let's see. Let's zoom it out a bit. There you go. That's better. That's better. I'm just putting in different layers of the grass here. Like that. Now we're going to take our bluey green kind of color here, which is a little bit darker. I'm just going to make sure that we get those darker strands, blades I guess, because it's grass. Basically what we're doing is we're just laying down the background. She of course is going to be our feature, But in order for her to be a feature in a ghoulish way, in a ghosty way, we have to lay down this background first because she's got so much going on behind her that you can see through her. Alright, now we're going to take dark brown, sharpen it up, and we're going to do the trees behind her as well. Now these are shadows or shadowy tree-like figure. They're bare, that's the word I'm looking for. Now, once again, I'm not concerned about going over the white areas of her dress because I want to be able to see those trees behind it. Shrubs, whatever you want to call them. Sticks coming out of the ground. And the reason for that I'm not worried about going over them is because I'm going to be going over it again with an eraser, just erasing little bits of that color, not all of it, just enough that it makes it look less than it is. And we'll also be adding some mist behind her as well. So we want to make sure that we have enough of the dark branches to do the mist. Okay, and then we've got this one here. At this point, you'll notice that she stops being as prominent because the background is coming together a little bit. Basically, what I have found while coloring this kind of picture is that, as I said at the beginning, is that you need to get the background in before you start doing her because you want that background coloring to be seen through her. Now you could color her and then do the background, but you may have more difficulty with how much white is on her in having that background be as bright and prominent as you would like it to be, if that makes sense. All right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little eraser pen if I can find it. I might just grab my eraser pencil. I don't know where darn thing goes to, I swear. I think one of the kids keeps on stealing it or something. Oh, there it is. So this is the Tombow Zero, Mono Zero. And what we're going to do is we're going to come down all of her areas here where the white is coming through. And we're just going to erase a little bit of it. Now you can do this with your, put that in a little bit more. You can do this with your Mono Zero. You can do this with your electric eraser. I find that with the electric eraser, it's going to actually erase some of the grayscale, which isn't a horrible thing, but when you're trying to keep that grayscale color in there to give you your movement lines, it could be a problem. So as you can see, I'm not erasing everything. I'm just going down the really, really stark white areas of her dress, making sure that it's still got some of that color behind it, but not as much. Okay, we'll dust that off. Now, we've got little bits of mist that's coming up everywhere. And we're going to take this gray and now this is a chalk pencil, so this is a pastel pencil from Hobby Lobby. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting in some of that gray in the background here and rubbing it in with my finger. Now I'm going to take the white and I'm going to blend some of that out. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking my finger and blending that white upwards because I want it to look like it's a mist going up. Like that. Now you can also do this with a pan pastel and that sort of thing. So I'm going to actually grab my other white one here just because it's a little bit of a creamier white. And for some reason my pastel pencils seem to be acting funny. Now we're going to erase that off of here. So keep your eraser handy. So I'm not erasing it all the way off of all of it because I want that to be in front of it. I think I got smuts or something on my... Now we've got a good layer of mist coming up off the ground. I'm not too concerned about the leaves with this part because I will be going over them with some colored pencil. But we've got a good amount of mist coming up off that ground. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Now we're going to start working on her dress. I just wanted to get a little bit of this mist coming up off of the ground areas here into that night sky area. Alright, now I'm not too concerned about the leaves because the leaves are in front. So once I color her, I will color the leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the white pencil here, and this is the chalk pencil. This is the pastel pencil. And I'm going everywhere where I think that dress is going to be. And I'm just filling it all in. I'm not worried about anything behind it. I'm just filling in that dress area. And then we're just going to rub that in and bring it down. Rub it all into the area behind it. Like that. And then we're going to add a little bit of color because, you know, who says that she's got to be only in white? So we're going to add just a touch of pink into that white. Just at the top of her gown where it's not tattered. Top of her skirt where it's not tattered. Like that. Now I'm using my finger to blend it in. You can of course use other things to do this with. You don't have to use your finger. Alright, so there we have the bottom part of her skirt. Now I think I want this pink to go a little bit further down. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting in that and then just swooping it down a little bit into the curve of her gown here. Like that. Okay. Now we're going to do the top part of her dress. And we're going to do it the same way. I'm going to want to sharpen this. I just have a little hand sharpener here. It's not the best thing to sharpen this with, but it works. Now we're going to start up here. Not too concerned about going over top of that. And then we're going to take that pink again. And we're just going to put some in there like that. There we go. And then we're going to put the white back in. In the highlight areas. In the areas where the moon is going to be shining through her. Like that. And then we're going to do the same thing for her skin. Get her clothes in there. There we go. Now, we're going to do the same thing for her skin. Then we're going to take a medium gray. Just get those. Can't really say shadows, but you know, it's showing a shadow. Here, let's move that up a little bit so I'm not so much there we go. Rubbing everything off. And basically all I'm doing is I'm just putting in white layer. Rubbing it in. Do apologize. My phone's burning up there. And then I'm going back through in those shadowed areas and reestablishing that darker area. Like that. Now we're going to add a little tiny bit of yellow because of the moon behind her. It's going to be coming through on her face a little bit, as well as down here. And then we're going to do her hair. We've got this part of her skin here as well. We're going to add a bit of yellow too. And then we're going to do her gloves here. I almost dropped it and broke it. And then we're just going to reestablish some of that darker area. Like that. Okay. Now we're going to do her hair. I'm going to turn her because I'm rubbing on that and it feels like I'm rubbing it all off. Now I'm going with the flow of the hair, making sure that I've got plenty of the extra flowing around her hair. Like that. Now I'm going to take a brush because I want those edges to be there. I'm going to take a brush and brush some of it off. And then I'm going to come in with the yellow and just add a bit of yellow to these ones up at the top here for the glow of the moon. Coming through them. Like that. And we'll dust it off. And then we'll take the dark. And we'll reestablish some of that darkness. her arm. And dust it off. Then we're going to reestablish a bit of that shadow. Not like a ghost should have a shadow, but you know. It's just what it's showing here, so that's what we're going to reestablish. Like that. And then we're going to do the other side as well. Now I'm going to turn it so that I'm not laying my hand on it. I need to sharpen this again. The white doesn't like staying sharp. Also doesn't like sharpening. I may have to use a different sharpener. Thought I had a better one in there. It may be in the drawer. In the drawer with all the other sharpeners. I'll use this one. Yeah, that one works pretty good. Okay. And I could have used my Derwent or my Cretacolor pastels for this, but I haven't used these ones in so long. I decided that I should give them some love. Just putting in a few flecks of this darker color just to show separation. There we go. Like so. Alright, so I'm going to take a look here, and we're going to take a little bit of this pink. We're just going to put a little bit of pink, I think, in those gloves. Not a lot, just enough to show that they were a color at one point. And same with down here on her skirt. Just enough to show that it was a color at one point. Now we're going to take our orangey red and we're just going to fill in some of these leaves. Like so. Going right over top of the white that we've laid down there because those leaves are in front. Alright. Now we're going to use a little bit more of the orange. Of course, it is always a better idea to make sure that you have something to put over your picture after you've put your chalk down, your soft pastel, just so that you're not rubbing it off with your hand. Alright, so let's take a look here. I've got a couple of ones back there that I want to be a little bit lighter, just so that it shows behind that white. If I did it the dark orange, it wouldn't look like it's behind it, it would look like it's in front of it. And these are on the trees behind her. Alright. That one there is in the mist. Okay. And I know there's some up in the top here as well. Add a bit of orange to it. Basically, she's just got a whirlwind of leaves following her around. Alright. So there is the majority of it already done. It didn't take very long. Of course, we've still got the moon and the night sky, but we will actually conquer that another time. I do believe I've done a night sky previously. Ooh, just dusted all that off into my face. Alright, so I'm going to put you on the main screen here. So as you can see, We've completed her and her uh, background here. We've still got the sky and the clouds to do, which are done the pretty much the same way that we did her. We'll be going through and we'll be adding some grays and that sort of thing. Now that I've got her done, I'm going to try to avoid um, touching her too much and what's behind her with the colors. So when we do, say, the clouds and that sort of thing, we're going to take a bit of yellow and go into these brighter areas here where the moonlight is going to be hitting on it, and just brush it in. Just the same way that we did the mist down below, just like that. And then we can add, let's see, a little bit of purple as well. Now you gotta remember the darker colors aren't going to smudge out as well as the lighter colors. So if you're going to use a darker color, make sure that you're in an area where you're able to not have it smudge as far. And then we're going to take some white and we're going to go in the top of these clouds, making sure not to go over top of. If you do go over top of a leaf or cover something up, all you have to do is grab your eraser. That's it. You just have to grab the eraser. Now I'm not going to go too deeply behind her, but I am going to put in those dark areas in the clouds. Making sure to leave her hair flowing out. So basically all we're doing down here is just filling it in and rubbing it to get that misty, soft feel of the cloud. And we come in with our white again. Now you can do this with pan pastel as well. So I'll show you how to do that with the pan pastel. And make sure I have the white and not the blender. Yeah, that's the titanium white. And I got my little thingy here. So this is titanium white. And of course I have my finger blender. So I'm going to go into these areas with that titanium white. And I'm just going to blend it in. Now this is much darker or much starker than the white that I was using on the chalk. So you can use it just to make it a little bit whiter if you choose to. Get that background a little bit more white behind her dress, that sort of thing. So when you're doing her dress, if you're doing it with the pan pastels, you just go down in the same way and just go over everything with your finger, just rubbing it in a little bit like that. And then you get a finger full of pastel, which is fine. Same with up here on the cloud areas. So if you're going to come up here with your cloud areas, and just smudge it around. And then you can take a different color. Let's grab a little bit of this. And a little bit of this. Just try not to mix your light colors into your dark colors on your dauber. And just brush it off. Rub it in if you need to, just to get that blend. And then take your eraser and go through and clean off any of your areas that have picked up some color that you didn't want to have color. Like that. And we're going to take the pencil. The pencil gives you the ability to do more of a line where the pan pastel gives you more of an ability to do full areas quite quickly. Like that. And then we're going to take a little bit of this. Excuse me. Like that. Okay. And there we have it. There is our wispy, ghosty look. And like I said, you can continue that on throughout the background. I will finish this up and of course I will post a picture of it. I do have to spray it and clean up the edges because of course the paper is now covered in the chalk. So you can of course do this with pencil as well. What I would suggest you do if you do this in pencil is take your pencil, your white pencil. Where did I put the white? I know I had it. There it is. Take your white pencil and as you're coming down, do really, really heavy. And then as you get further down, make sure that you put in all of your background first, and then use the edge of your pencil and just shade, very lightly shade over top of it. You can definitely get a good coloring on the skin with pencil. The the ghost itself, you can do a really good coloring with pencil. You just gotta follow the lines and remember that she's see-through. Just that's the main thing, is that you need to remember that you can see through her. So when you get to things like this, don't color her dress so dark that you're not going to see this part of the scene behind her. All right. So I hope that has been helpful. Thank you all very much for watching. Of course, I will be back again tomorrow for Work in Progress Wednesday. And tomorrow we're going to be working on finishing off our little witchy teapot by Heather Valentin. And that should be fun. We're going to use some paint and pencils and all sorts of things. So hopefully that will turn out as nicely as I think it will. But of course, it's always oh, I think it'll be nice. And sometimes it's well, I thought it would be nice. Yeah, experimentation, it always works. All right, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope it answered some questions on how I do ghosty type of people as well as mist in the backgrounds. Basically, the way I do it is I use a very good white pastel, pencil preferably for clothing and hair, and for backgrounds and mist, a pan pastel or a good white pastel that can be rubbed in directions that you want it to be rubbed in, whether you're using an applicator or whether or not you're using your finger. Like I said, you can definitely use your finger to rub any of these pastels into your page. You do not have to have expensive applicators, expensive pastels, anything like that. All of this can be done with a inexpensive set of pastels, even if you're just using shavings. These are just shavings off of the pastels that I was using earlier. So if I wanted to, I can just take some of the yellow here, maybe, and just rub it in, just like that, and dust it off. It does not have to be, an expensive set of pastels. You can get a good look with a inexpensive set of pastels from Hobby Lobby or Michael's or online, wherever. You don't have to buy the most expensive set of pastels that you can find. They're nice, and sometimes they give a better look because they have more pigment in them. But you can still get a good look from a lower priced product. So just putting that out there just to make sure that you guys don't think that you have to, spend a lot of money to do this, because you don't. And like I said, you can get this effect, just not as wispy with a set of colored pencils. The only thing that I would say with colored pencils is, make sure that you don't do it too heavy where you're removing the background, and make sure that you leave some white spot. I am a horrible person for embracing the white spot. I have a really hard time doing that. But in this kind of situation, it's basically what you would want to do in order to maintain that see-through look. I apologize. Whoever it is can call back. I don't like the ones that come up unknown name, unknown number, or potential spam. Those are the ones I pretty much ignore. They can leave a number or they can call me back. Okay, so that's all of the information I have for you today. If you have any further requests or questions on different things that you would want to see on Tips and Tricks Tuesday, please let me know in the comments section below, or you can send me an email at which is also listed below. I do believe it's at renee.carnes. No, that's the wrong one. Renee's Coloring Corner. Um, I gotta look now. Renee's Coloring Corner at gmail.com. And of course, there is no apostrophe S. So it's Renee'sColoringCorner. So Renee's Coloring Corner at gmail.com. So if you have any questions or any suggestions or anything that you want to see done, send me an email, leave me a message, anything like that, and I will do my best to incorporate it into a video as quickly as possible. Other than that, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to join us over on Facebook, please feel free to do so. Just, fill out the application form and somebody will get you in as quickly as possible. If you want to financially support the channel, you can do so by joining our memberships. Of course, there are many different perks, some of which are not even listed with the perks. They're little surprise perks. And there is 3 different tiers. So if you want to financially support the channel, you can definitely do so by joining the ranks of my fairy tales, my fairies and my mermaids and my unicorns, because those are all my favorite things. All right, guys, remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye-bye for now.